We are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports? We hope that you guys are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. Huge show in store for you tonight. We had a football game, y'all. We got, hey, man, some very impressive stuff from the LSU Tigers today. Garrett Nussmeier, Jaden Daniels, the running backs, the offensive line, the defensive line standing out early, wide receiver stepping up. Chris Hilton, could he be a breakout star in the very near future? Lots and lots to talk about. Oh, what about that recruiting? Oh, my God. Blake, Brian Kelly can't recruit. Huh? Bro, you know how much of a biatch you sound like when you say that? A little unfiltered tonight, y'all. Huh? That's what you sound like. A moaning little girl. I probably shouldn't say girl in today's society. A moaning little person. Huge day on and off the field. We will break all of that down. Garrett Nussmeier looking good. I thought Jaden Daniels minus the drops looked good. I don't think LSU or any quarterback separated themselves today. And I'm not going to take everything from a spring game as we have so much further we have to go until the opening kickoff for this fall. Mike Jones, who had a very impressive day. And the question that everyone was always asking this entire spring, Blake, where's Micah Baskerville? Well, will the real Greg Penn please step up and stand out? Because he did today. Mason Smith looked good. Ali Gay looked good. Ali Gay was okay, but BJ Ojulari having a couple of sacks. Pause. But everything looking good. Oh, and wouldn't you know, the LSU baseball Tigers with a sweep over the lesser Tigers in Missouri. We'll touch on that as well. But I do have to say, and thank every single one of you that follow us here on Facebook as we eclipsed the 10,000 follow mark on Facebook. So round of applause to all of you who have been with us from the beginning. Thank you so much for getting us over the 10,000 mark. Oh, and I told you we were doing it. We are constantly growing. We do have our not new producer, but adding a producer to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully he's ready. Welcome in the Pooh Bear. What's up, Pooh Bear?
Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry. I have to be professional on your show. Good evening, everyone.
Well, you look like you just read a book from the Scotsford Dictionary. I mean, you could probably tell me every word in the dictionary with those glasses.
Yes. I have deciphered from my readings that you have a pretty good show. And
okay.
Yes. And the spring game was pretty good.
All right. Well, welcome, Pooh Bear,
yes,
to AYS producing the show. He will be live with us throughout, hopefully, eternity. On the AYS, but from the Golden Boot podcast, we will let Pooh Bear plug the Golden Boot at the end of the show, and we'll get Pooh Bear's thoughts on the spring game. But Pooh Bear, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Blake.
All right, he'll be behind the scenes running the show, but yes, the Pooh Bear, he's in the building. Bryce with the laughing face emojis. Everybody laughing at the glasses. PCG laughing at Pooh Bear's glasses. Look at James. Look at James up in this thing. If you don't listen to Twitter Spaces, you will not know what means. But James, welcome to the show. Welcome. Yes, no, Zach the intern has not been fired. He has not been fired, but nevertheless, we'll welcome Pooh Bear on. All right, let's pay some bills around this thing. We'll talk about the spring game. Everybody do us a favor. Hit the like and share. If you're on Facebook, there's so many of you joining us right now. Everybody, hit the like button. Smash that like button like you're the Hulk. Hulk smash. Smash that thing. Share to some Facebook groups. Share to your social media pages. If you're on YouTube, do us a favor by subscribing, hitting that like button, sharing to all of your social media platforms. And if you're listening to us on the audio podcast platform, we greatly appreciate it. So let's pay some bills. Got to talk about our good friends over at BetOnline. Guys, BetOnline, everywhere you place your bets. They have been our partners from the beginning. Go over there today by using your mobile device. Basketball, baseball, everything that you want. Futures, college football, who's going to be in the Super Bowl. Will the Joe Burrow-led Cincinnati Bengals come to New Orleans next season and beat the Saints? The way that you can go there and bet is through betonline.ag. Use the promo code AYS and believe, BLEAV. That's BLEAV. And they'll give you a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. It's betonline.ag. Betonline.ag. All right, let's talk about our good friends over at GM. We're talking about spring football right as we return here. Stay with us. We got a lot to talk about. Oh, put in the comments who impressed you the most today from LSU spring game, and we'll talk about it. With over 65 years of experience, nobody is better equipped to service in your vehicle than GM Varnado & Sons. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. If you break down on the side of the road in the greater Baton Rouge area, they will come and get you. And the best thing about that is that they can come and get you, and then they can bring your vehicle back to their shop and start the repairs right then. Again, GM Varnado & Sons. Go see them over at 2500 Fuller Boulevard. Give them a call at 225-664-9992. 225-664-9992. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino sent you on by. All right, I already see some of these comments, Pooh Bear, flying in. If you can, some of these like this one, who impressed you the most, just fire them in there. But I know, look, I'm already seeing them firing in here, right? Like I asked you who impressed you the most this spring game. Shemichael said Nussmeier and then Amari Goodwin. There are a lot of guys that you can take away that had a huge day. Now, let's just talk about this. Okay. It's something that we've talked about for a while now. And everybody hit the like and share. Share to some Facebook groups. Everybody hit the share button now. It's something that we've talked about for a while now. And I want to say this because I think when I've said it in the past, it kind of gets glossed over and nobody talks about it. Miles Brennan throwing a long pass in practice is not going to impress me, man. Like, you have been here for a while. You should be able to do that when a corner goes down. But Garrett Nussmeier did look a lot better and has improved his game. But let me say this. Let me just be very honest and open with everybody. There were some things on the scoring touchdowns and scoring drives that Garrett Nussmeier did that once you play in a real game is not gonna fly. The third down sack he took on the opposite side of the field, and the LSU would go for it on 4th and 8, and Chris Hilton caught the slant for the first down. You're punting the ball in the regular season on that. The screen pass that wasn't completed. The other sack that Garrett Nussmeier took, and then you go for it on 4th down. There were multiple drives that Garrett did take a sack. Now, does he escape from it? Can he get out of it? We don't know. The whistle's blown. But LSU's offensive line early did struggle in the pass rush. They did struggle early. And there's not a lot you can say that they got better, and they did. The running game looked a lot better. But on the first scoring drive, LSU would go down 70 with guys like John Emery. Brian Kelly lightened the offensive line's ass up, no pause, for not being able to convert a 3rd and 1. They ran the football effectively. They ran it behind true freshman Will Campbell. The touchdown by Goodwin, running right behind Will Campbell. I think Garrett did do some good things. But when you're going 2-6, 3-6 on a drive, okay. But he did look a lot better. Nuss did look a lot better. I thought Miles from the quarterbacks, when we talked this whole off season and we talked about how Miles had struggled at times, Now you kind of see it. You can't miss the short passes. You can't overthrow guys, especially when you're not dynamic running the football. Now, a lot of people are going to talk about Jane Daniels, and I get it. I thought that Jane Daniels had a good day too. He was slow getting to some of the passes. He was slow on some of the reads. Can he get better in doing that once the season and once everything goes on? I think that he can. I really believe that he can. One thing you can't eliminate, one thing you absolutely cannot eliminate from Jaden is his running ability. But the 4 drops, when you go 3 of 9 and you have 4 drops, 3 of them coming from Kyron Lacey, I might add, guys, how much more effective could he have been and would he have been if those balls were completed? Now, I think the biggest thing is, and the thing that I looked at the most, and the biggest takeaway for me is how LSU looked and dominated in the running game up front. I think LSU's defense got a little bit tired now, but that's a little bit geared to the offense too. You're running out multiple first and second team offensive lines. Mason Smith, Jaquelin Roy, Jacoby and Guillory, BJ Ojolari, Ali Gay, they played a lot of snaps today. If they don't know now they know they got to get in better shape. But I think that the way that the spring game was run goes in favor for a long-standing, and it being long-standing, it's going to favor the offense. I thought that the offense won the day. I mean, and we could see that on the field. We can see that in the score box. But this defensive line is going to be one of the best in the country. Something that we've talked about from the very beginning. Who do you double team at this point? Do you double team Jaquelin Roy? Do you double team Mason Smith? Mason Smith with probably, for me, outside of any sacks that were in the football game today, the biggest thing for me was the bat down of Garrett Nussmeier's screen pass when Mason Smith read it and broke the play up, fourth down, and you're on your opponent's side of the field. That's huge to be able to get off the field at that point. LSU is not going to go for it on their own 30-yard line. Garrett had some really good passes. You can't take it away from him. The offense did move a little bit better at times, but it also moved well under Jaden. Now, I see the comment here from Mr. or Miss Adams, Safe Adams, but it says Miles disrespect throwing up emoji. He basically missed the last 2 years. That's the point, right? Like, that's the point. I don't think, what are you supposed to expect? I mean, like, we want it so bad for him, but you can't want something more than what the individual person might want. One of the 4 is going to transfer. I don't feel like it's Garrett Nussmeier at this point. I don't, I could go out here and say my true opinion. I get slaughtered for it, but it is a 2-person race. And I think that where Garrett Nussmeier stepped up, where Garrett Nussmeier stepped up, Miles took a step back. But for me, and all of this, especially from a quarterback position, good luck in a couple of years with Walker Howard. Good luck. What's going to happen when Walker Howard's not running with the 3rd team and he's got guys like Brian Thomas and Chris Hilton out there? Jack Besh with 6 targets today, 6 catches and a touchdown. Malik Neighbors, 2 catches, 41 yards. He looked impressive. Chris Hilton, look, maybe or maybe not, there will be some news on Chris Hilton in the near future. If you know. Regardless, will the real Chris Hilton please step up? Because that kid, if he gets enough playing time, is going to be dynamic. So when everybody was asking over the last couple of weeks, Blake, where's Jack Besh? Where's Jack Besh? Where's Jack Besh? His name's Chris Hilton. When you're on 4th and 8 and you're running a quick slant, well, Blake, he's small. Well, hell, he stood in the pocket when Mike Jones, who? Mike Jones. And you're about to take a big hit and you catch the ball for a first down. That is what leads you to win football games. However, the biggest thing for me was the offensive line. The way that they dominated up front, the way that they dominated in the running game, the backs. Look, I know that Jay Ward, who also had a really good day, I know Jay Ward had a big hit on John Emery. On 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, I don't care if Jay Ward has a huge hit on my running back if he gets the first down. Good for you. Ooh, here comes the big hit. First down, biatch. Moving the chains. It's the only thing that matters. Chris English, Pooh Bear, you can put it back up there. But Chris English says that to Blaine Smith, Besh looked amazing. He will definitely be a target this year. Besh looked great, the wheel route. Look, it was something that, and I know that we had talked about with Mike Denbrock with Carter the Power Bryant when he was on. Mike, when you show Mike Denbrock something once, you better be careful of doing it again because he's going to burn you on it. Jane Daniels in the pocket, Jack Bass, touchdown. Then the same thing with Josh Williams out of the backfield. That wasn't a touchdown, but go back and watch it because me and Pooh, where I was watching it before we came on here, Garrett on the long pass to Josh Williams, Garrett Nussmeier did get sacked. Outside of the sacks from Garrett Nussmeier, outside of him when he would normally take hits in a game, if you can eliminate that, he looked really well. Same could be said for Jane Daniels. Now, the one thing that I like for Jane Daniels more than anything, the one thing that I like more, when it wasn't there, he used his speed. Now, they blew the whistle. They weren't allowing him to take any hits. That kid's going to play a lot of football, whether you like it or not. I can hear it now. I can hear it when we're August 1st when we go out in the first practice. Oh, Blank's pushing a Jaden Daniels narrative. Oh. The kid's explosive, man. The kid's speed is unreal. What happens when those plays aren't blown dead? So anyway. All right, Pooh Bear, fire in some of these comments. Our great producer, Pooh Bear, from the Golden Boot Podcast, who's going to be with us. This is awkward. One of our producers putting up our other producers commenting the show. Awkward. Anyway, God, making me feel, weird here. Maybe it's some spooky stuff. But Tigers Avenue, Zach says, running backs and O-line second half impressed the most out of me today. I agree with that. Hey, man, shout out to John Emery. And I thought Brian Kelly had the best quote of the day when it came to John Emery. Like, hey, man, he's going to play in the SEC, right? Like, he's not going to be 100% all the time. He wanted to go out there, and Brian Kelly talked about today at his post-game press conference how proud he was of John Emery. Now, let me say this. John Emery, whether it be not on this show, but maybe on other shows, especially in Twitter spaces, John Emery has taken a lot of criticism. Some of it right, some of it not. But the one thing that I saw from John Emery, not just today, but I even saw last season, suspended for the year. He put his head down. He went to practice every day. He didn't pout. He didn't moan. He didn't complain. All that kid did was try to get better, and look at him now. A focused John Emery is a scary John Emery. Shout out to John Emery. Pooh Bear, what else we got? C-Trey193. Look at that YouTube photo pic. Like, what? I mean, it looks like somebody wearing an old leather football helmet, right? I mean, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me, I mean, did I just disrespect a really nice old monument? Like, is that Blake's making fun of, this monument canceled. But I don't know what monument it is. But he said Jaden was impressive in the running game and with a few deep passes, looks like a legitimate threat. The pass to Brian Thomas Jr. was impressive. The zone, this is the biggest thing for me, too. The zone read on the end in the end zone for a touchdown. I was more impressed that after a long touchdown drop or a long pass to Brian Thomas, you're at the line of scrimmage with 23 seconds on the play clock ready to go. Ball is snapped, zone read. BJ Ojulari had nothing to do. Will Campbell gets such a big push on the 3 technique and gets up to Greg Penn. Touchdown. He adds a different dynamic. He completely adds a different dynamic. Him and us are going to battle. As far as Miles, man, I don't know. I don't know. LJ Murray says guards looking good. Cardell or Carroll, I think you're trying to say Cardell maybe, might have a starting spot this year. I thought both starting guards, the transfers, Tremont Shorts and Miles Frazier, looked really damn impressive. Guys, they dominated in the running game. Now, they gave up a lot of sacks. Pause. But they did give up a lot of sacks. And they got to clean that up. Again, Garrett took a lot of sacks today, y'all. And some of them weren't blown dead. The long pass to Josh Williams is a sack in real life. Oh, God. Big pressure in the building. Come on, man. I can't be like Mr. Perp. Man. I mean, mine. Daniel Williams, who looks like Chameleonaire in his YouTube profile pic. They see me rolling. They hating, patrolling, and trying to catch me riding dirty. Says that's a beautiful African monument. I'm sorry. My apologies. My apologies. Pooh Bear, what else we got in some of these comments? Nurse Court. I think it's her birthday weekend. Shout out to Nurse Court. Throwing it down. Nurse Court out there, y'all. Y'all better watch out. Says Stores is a massive human. He is a massive human. Hey, you know who, Pooh Bear, you know who surprised me today? Was Cole Taylor. He's serviceable. Oh, so I can hear it now. Blake, we got to go after tight end. I told you on the show Monday that a source had told me, a little birdie chirping, Birdman, we fly in any weather, told me that LSU was going to pump the brakes on tight end at the current moment unless that there was somebody out there. Now, we could talk a little bit about recruiting too. I want to get to recruiting. Shout out Joe Burrow. Why did LSU not go after a tight end holder in the transfer portal? If you really needed a tight end, right? Like if you really, really, really needed a tight end, why didn't you go after old boy from Notre Dame? If you really needed a tight end, why didn't you go after old boy from A&M? And as Chris English says, Blake, out tight ends look better than I thought they would have. And I agree. I completely agree. So there you go. Like, look, Brian Kelly and staff can tell you things without telling you things. Why didn't they go after a center yet? What position do they maybe need the most? Right tackle, maybe a center if Garrett Dellinger's not there and ready to go. Maybe another corner, but you don't have Bernard Converse or Seven Banks. This team, look, I'm going to tell you something. I know the DBs got roasted like a Sandlot marshmallow today. However, I'm not taking a whole lot from a spring game. Guys, last year alone, Pooh Bear, I'm going to bring Pooh Bear up. Pooh Bear, I got a trivia question for you. You ready?
Got it.
Who led LSU in receptions and receiving yards in last year's spring game?
That would be Mr. John Trey Kirkland.
You stunned me. I didn't think you would get that. God dang it, Pooh Bear. Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to hit that. God dang it, Pooh Bear.
Hey, listen. I said it at the beginning of this season, or I'm sorry, right by a bowl, that where was Jontre all season? Because he shined during the spring game, and we didn't see him at all during the season.
So maybe we shouldn't overreact, right?
We should not.
Okay, well, I didn't think you would get it. I thought Pooh Bear.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Wait. You didn't think I would get it? Why so, Blake?
God damn, you got me. I don't know. But you remember the old ESPN show? It's like Stump the Schwab.
Yes.
You're like the Schwab. You know what? We'll do a segment with that, Pooh. Pooh, I'm going to give you a trivia question and see if you can answer it. Now, Pooh Bear, you did win some money from AYS a long time ago, if you remember.
I did.
What was that question? I feel like it was an Andre Woodson question.
It was. What was the last quarterback? This was prior to Slovis. What was the last quarterback for Kentucky to beat LSU? And it was Andre Woodson in 2007.
It was. Okay. I can't stop the Pooh Bear, but Pooh, I'm going to come back to you.
All right.
With another trivia question in a minute. Now, you do have, I'm going to tease everybody with this. Mm-hmm. You told me earlier you have an LSU baseball nugget too, do you not? Was that you?
No, that wasn't me. Wrong Pooh Bear.
Is there all, it wasn't you?
Not all Pooh Bears look alike, Blake.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on. I got to get away from this. I got to get out of this. Anywho, Tracy says Will Campbell. Tracy says Will Campbell impressed. KMC says Jay Ward too. God, Pooh Bear got me on that one, man. I'm not going to be able to return. KMC says, is there an update on Jure? No, it doesn't look good though. Holding his arm. He wasn't asked. We'll see though. We'll get an update. Here's the good thing. Jure Jenkins, if God forbid, knock on wood, if it's a broken arm, he will return for the season, right? That's a 4 or 5 week recovery, unless it's really Miles Brennan type, but it's not. It's not. I mean, he didn't trip on a flip flop. So, yeah. Come on, man. Brandon Reese says Stores is 6'6", 260, and Cole Taylor 6'7", 247. And look, Brian Kelly talked about Cole Taylor at his post-game press conference, talking about he needs to go in the weight room this summer. He's got to get stronger. He needs to get more physical at the line of scrimmage. But he's serviceable, right? Like Cole Taylor caught multiple balls in the flat when thrown to. He didn't miss many targets. But I like what LSU did up front. I really, really, really do like what he did up front. But look, Kyron Lacey, I thought today was a little nicked up. He was the most targeted LSU Tiger today with 9 targets and only 1 catch. There were a couple of them. And look, we saw this in practice too. The last practice that I can remember Kyron Lacey, like being one-on-one, he dropped multiple touchdowns in the end zone from Jane Daniels. Had another one again today. He's got it, brother. This is the SEC. You know what I mean? Like, use your big frame, use your body, go up there and get it. I do ask myself the question. I asked this in Twitter Spaces earlier, which I hope somebody does start a Twitter Spaces after the show. But I did ask this question. If Jane Daniels, if the 4 passes that were dropped on him were caught and he's 7 for 9 for 112 yards, a touchdown and a rushing touchdown, what are we saying then? Now, I am huge on don't talk about the what ifs, and I get it. But same with Garrett. If I'm going to play the what if game with Garrett, if he doesn't take any of those sacks, if you can clean that up, I will play the what if game with Jaden. I will do that. Pooh, what are some more of these comments we can fire in here? Shamichael says the receivers balled out for sure. Lacey gets open, but those hands are shaky. Kind of like Emmanuel on Wild and Out. You know what I'm talking about? Emmanuel. When he's got the referee jersey on and somebody's trying to make a crack and goes, shaky, 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 shaky. Those hands can be a little shaky. It's like a Hey Yeah music video. Hey Yeah. My man's got to get better with them hands. Miss Peggy. Hello, Miss Peggy. The LSU mother. Says, I talked to J. Roy after the game, and he said we were double teamed most of the game. He said, how much more dominance do you want? Had asked him if I'm assuming defense, defense was going to be dominant this fall. I'm not going to necessarily completely disagree. But not everybody can be double teamed in a running game. So look, man, you know what? One thing I was impressed, so some things, look, they were dominated. You got to, in the second half, they were dominated, even into the second quarter. Let me say this too about recruiting. There's something that we haven't talked about. Never. Pooh, I should have put a Ruffino's rant on this hoe, but I'm going to be a little bit timid. I'm going to give you all a nugget. If any of you, any LSU fan tells me that LSU is behind in NIL again after this weekend, you need to go to what do they call that in Batman? Arkham City. Huge recruiting weekend. Joe Burrow, Dante Moore, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Oh, and you might be getting a pair of running backs soon. They got to take away these sound effects from me, bro. They got to take these goddamn sound effects away from me. They got to do it. I don't want to hear anymore Brian Kelly can't recruit. There's a difference at recruiting at LSU, and there's a difference at recruiting at Notre Dame. The only thing that South Bend, Indiana has is a Dairy Queen, and the ice cream machine is always broken. Like, bro, all I want is a hot fudge sundae. They got Catholics, funeral chicken, and a Dairy Queen in South Bend, Indiana. Now, Pooh Bear knows a little something about, as he would call it, the funeral chicken. Maybe that's a question we should hashtag ask Pooh Bear. Where can I get funeral chicken? He will tell you Publix, and my God, is it so goddamn good. Carl Dunn says Blake is coming off the top rope if he hears we are behind on NIL. Well, Carl, it's a narrative that's not necessarily true. What's going to happen if you get a 5-star quarterback from Michigan? Do you think that LSU pulled all these transfers without doing a little something? Little something behind the scenes. Aunt Marshall. The AYS attorney is driving in. Oh, well. We do have the Drake Williams law firm. Another attorney. The Golden Boot attorney. How about that? The Golden Boot attorney, Aunt M, says, I tried to tell y'all months ago a running back commit was coming. He ain't wrong, y'all. He ain't wrong. Sherry Berry says the ice cream machine is always broken. Yeah, it is. Pooh Bear, what are some? 250 commits or recruits. Yes. Guys, the sideline was drenched in recruits today. Shout out Frank Wilson. Shout out Frank Wilson. Huge man. Massive man. If I'm gonna be very unbearable, like extremely unbearable, if LSU ends up with a top 8 recruiting class. Unbearable. All right. One more, and Pooh, we got to pay some bills around this thing. I got 2 producers now, bro. They don't come cheap. Pooh Bear talking about how he needs, Zach needs money for his Tim Tebow haircut. I don't know what Pooh Bear spends his money on. They ain't no telling. Gummies. Using the AYS promo code. But LGZ, Mr. GQ himself, says, look like a collarbone for Jure. Man, that's not good. That's not good at all. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. All right, let's pay some bills around this thing. Stay tuned with us. Fire in your questions. Hashtag Ask Blake. Any recruiting questions, updates, thoughts, concerns, fire them in here now. But let's talk about our good friends over at Manscaped and Pooh Bear's favorite sponsor, our friends over at Gramco. With the first pick in the NFL draft, Ball Saxonville has decided to pick Manscaped to stock up their Manscaped. The leaders in below-the-waist grooming have sponsored us and AYS to make sure that you do not get booed out of the bedroom, just like NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. Support us by heading over to manscaped.com. That's manscaped.com, and use the exclusive code AYS at checkout for 20% off and free shipping. Again, that's manscaped.com. Use that promo code AYS at checkout for 20% off plus that free shipping. Guys, I've got to talk to you about our good friends over at Gramco. They are the Delta 8 company based out of the state of Florida. They're founded by college football junkies just like you and I am not sure if you're familiar with Delta 8, but you need to be. Gramco is the absolute leader in this field, and they have phenomenal products that I just need to tell you about. First off is the Wake and Bake coffee that is absolutely spectacular. The gummies are as well, as they're the best in the market. So go to thegramco.com right now and use the promo code AYS25. That's thegramco.com, AYS25 promo code to get 25% off of your order. Jump on this fast, as it is perfect for holidays, anniversaries, and everyday use. Gramco is hemp-derived and completely legal inside of the state of Louisiana. No medical card is needed, and shipping is very discreet. You must be 21 years older to order. Again, that's thegramco.com. Use that promo code AYS25. It seems as if that everybody likes the Manscaped commercial. Ball Saxonville. Yeah. I get it. Shout out to our friends over at Manscaped. Dude, look, it's not just the trimmers. Look, man, I know y'all don't want to know anything about me, but look, the nose trimmers, the beard stuff, the beard oil, it's absolutely fantastic. Carl Dunn says Ball Saxonville is a new expansion. Or they're just Jacksonville. Ball Saxonville. Trevor Lawrence, that's Joe Burrow's son, bro. But I do like this sound. With the first pick in the AYS draft, I select Funeral Chicken as the best chicken on the market. Now, some of you are going to have to get on Twitter Spaces to know what we're talking about with the Funeral Chicken. Pooh Bear swears up and down it's Funeral Chicken. He did send me over to Publix, though. Look, I talk about the Blue Store all the time. Okay, I'm a wing and chicken savant. I've eaten more fried chicken than I know what to do with. Publix, though. Publix. All right. Shout out Publix. I ain't ever been, but I will be back. You best believe that. We do have some more questions, some Ask Blakes in here too, but Chris English says also, how smart is BK to buy a house within a mile of the campus? How he can now entertain unofficial visits at his house. Massive. And look, did Orgeron know that? No, because he didn't live a half mile off the campus. It's small stuff like that, bro. Small stuff like that. How many recruits are over at Brian Kelly's house right now at his mansion? How many? And he talked about, well, it's a little bit too expensive. Bullshit. He's lying to you. That's his humor. He's trying to crack jokes. What are some others here? Pooh. Penn Jones says, hashtag Ask Blake. Was Holly there at the game today? He was. So was Sheldon Sampson. Look, LSU's probably, if I had to assume, going to try to get at minimum 15 to 16 in-state recruits. I think that they're about to pop with 2 other recruits. I feel good on Trey Holly. I feel good on a lot of these guys, right? You just have to be aware, like Parker Jenkins, the running back. I believe he's from Texas, if I'm not mistaken, the Houston area. But Parker Jenkins is another guy that I feel very confident on. So we'll see. We'll see. But I do have a lot of faith there. Keegan, this can't be Keegan from Twitter. 16-year-old Keegan. Uh-oh. All right, Keegan, I see you. But he says, hashtag ask Blake, who do you think our next commit is? And when do you think it happens? I think it happens this week. I think as soon as Monday or this week, we could see someone commit. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. Look, I can't. On these recruiting trips, sometimes these recruits are on a very strong high, of emotion. And then when they go home, they settle down, they talk to their families, talk to their mom, talk to their dad, and we'll see. But I still think the next 4 to 6 weeks is going to be massive in recruiting for LSU. Very massive. LSU did sweep Missouri today. We'll continue to talk about that during the week. Very impressed. You got to beat the bad teams, man. And the simple fact that LSU swept Mississippi State and they swept Missouri, it's huge. Guys, it's so big that you're able to go 6-0 on below tier teams. So crucial. But we'll talk about that a lot this week. We'll need to get Carter on too. We'll guest up a lot this week. I need to get Scarborough on to talk football with him and talk recruiting with him. But yeah, Tony Williams says, how about Caleb Jackson from Liberty High School? Look, man, I feel as if I do feel as if you're about to get I feel strong on Parker Jenkins. Look, and this is just my opinion. Okay, and I've stayed by this opinion every single day that I've been on the show. The recruiting ranking is not going to bother me. If there's a reason that LSU is going after a 3-star from out of state, that means to me that they have him very high on their board. Okay? If Parker Jenkins is that guy or one of those guys, I'm okay with it. Now, I want as many in-state recruits as we can get. I'm not saying that. But maybe, just maybe, they have a thought process there. And shout out to Brian Kelly. What are some other ones here, Pooh Bear? Brandon Reese says, on go 247. Yeah. Sheldon Sampson has Alabama, LSU, Florida State, Michigan in his top 5. Well, that's not really, Brandon, that wasn't per 247. That was per Sheldon Sampson. He announced it. So you got to give him that. LGZ says Jordan Thompson's still Rudy Poo. He's still pretty bad. Don't get Peyton started, LGZ. Don't get Peyton started. Blake, I got to tell you, Jordan Thompson can't play ball. I started baseball at Pine High School. Don't get him started, man. Peyton. Pierce Lee. Pierce, where you been, bro? I ain't seen you in a hot minute. But he says, hope Tigers jump on Tackett Curtis out of Manny. I need to ask Scarborough. I don't know if Tackett Curtis was there today, but I still feel confident on a lot of these guys. Joe Burrow didn't want to do anything, did not want to be out in the spotlight. Spent a lot of time with Dante Moore this week. Sources, Jordan Arsenal is highly in that recruiting process. Sources. LSU has put on the full court press for Dante Moore. The 2023 quarterback from Michigan, the 5-star, they're putting on the full court press. Will he commit? Will he be here? I don't know. I simply just don't know. But yeah, look, I'll get to this one and we'll talk a little bit of baseball too. But Joseph says the Honey Badger was doing some major recruiting on the sidelines. He was walking up to guys, knowing their name. Let me read this text to you. Hold on. I had one text today said, hold on, here it is. Tyrann Mathieu walked up to a recruit that he had never met and said, "Hey, are you such and such?" And he said, "Yeah, that's me." And basically, Tyrann going up to a kid, calling him by name, is huge, right? Like, if Tyrann Mathieu walks up to me and says, "Shit, bro, you Blake Ruffino from AYS," well, he already know, you know. Shit. But you know what I mean? If you're a recruit, that's a big deal. For me, if if Kevin Falk, let me tell you who it really would have been. If Booger McFarland would have walked up to me, man, Booger was my guy. Him and my sister were a little bit inseparable when they were in college. Shout out Courtney Putnam. But they took a lot of classes together. Some would say they had a lot of chemistry. I wish I had like a doo-doomts button. You see what I did there? But that's massive, man. It's massive. Okay. Well, we're not going to stay too terribly long. Let's fire in a couple more comments here, Pooh. We'll talk a little baseball, and then we'll bring Pooh Bear on here. Dwayne says, need to sweep Georgia and Bama. Yeah, we do. You're not sweeping Georgia. I'm just telling you, you ain't sweeping Georgia. It ain't going to happen. Pierce Lee says, Blaine Carter, the power. Ha ha! I've been out of there lately. Got to get back in with the AYS fam. You do, bro. You do. LGC says our recruiting staff is fire, very engaged in social media, which is something we've been missing completely. Okay. Let's bring in the Pooster. Pooh, I got to tell you, as we wrap up the show, it's been a joy to have you. You did a great job. Do you feel accomplished? How good do you feel, Pooh, that you did such a great job?
Listen, I'm sweating out of places I didn't know I could sweat. It's tough back here.
Hey, man, as both of us being very healthy individuals, we do sweat in places that you never should probably sweat, right?
Right.
Pooh, I know we're going to take a little bit of criticism with this.
I'll tell you what, Blake, before you get there, I think I found Ball Saxonville.
Guys, pause. You be pausing everybody in spaces. Pause. I feel you. It's hot up in this hole. I feel like I'm in a 90s Nelly music video. It's getting hot in here, but I can't take all of my clothes off. You know what I mean?
Right.
Pooh, I'm probably gonna get bashed on this. I'm not gonna give Garrett Nussmeier QB1. Just not gonna do it. How did you see today's game? What do you think?
So before I start talking, let me go back to 2018 spring game. Coming out of that, Justin McMillan was the man. He was going to be our starter. He was going to lead us to the glory. He looked phenomenal. Lo and behold, Joe Burrow comes in. Justin McMillan doesn't see any playing time at LSU. With that, Nuss looked good. He showed growth, but he also showed that there's room for improvement. Jaden looked comfortable. The one thing I saw, and I know a lot of people said, I don't want to see him run 30 times a game and stuff like that. But I tell you what, nobody complained when Jalen Hurts ran 30 times into a national championship against Clemson.
Right. And look, this, Pooh, I said this on Spaces earlier, okay? If he goes 7 for 9 and he's 112 yards with 2 touchdowns, what's the narrative then? Look, the thing is, if you're going to give the what ifs for Garrett on the sacks, you got to give, and I don't like playing that game at all, but you got to give it to Jaden Daniels. So, look, we'll see. One more question, Pooh, for you on the quarterbacks. Right. Look, there's a lot of talk this offseason about Miles Brennan. Didn't look good at all. He had some good throws. I thought the one in the end zone to Malik Neighbors, but Sage Ryan, 9 times out of 10 is going to intercept that pass. Little shocked about Miles Brennan, in your opinion?
If Miles was Howard, Walker Howard, or Nuss, I'd have that same thought process as everyone else. Oh, Miles is going to be QB1, but as a 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th year senior, I can't I can't have that same enthusiasm about him. I think he does not. The growth we saw in Nuss, I did not see in him. So,
I completely agree. Your biggest takeaway from today? What if you just had to take one, quarterbacks out of it? What does Pooh Bear say? What is your biggest takeaway?
Skill players. They're going to get in open space and they're going to make some plays.
Okay, elaborate on that. Who do you? I mean, Brian Thomas, Chris Hilton. I mean,
Brian Thomas, Besh, Chris Hilton, Amari Goodwin, who didn't see the field much last year, and we thought he would be the first running back transfer out this week. And I know you didn't even get a chance. Well, I know you talked about it through the week about Corey Connor. We thought that Amari Goodwin was going to be the first running back to transfer out, especially when Noah Kane came in, and he looked really good today, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's not your opinion. I mean, facts are facts. Okay,
Yeah.
So I mean, you can't teach elite speed. Okay, and that's something that he has. The biggest question mark all off season so far has been the offensive line, but they really did dominate in the running game. Did they impress you pretty strongly today?
Offensive line looked pretty good. All the pieces aren't there for offensive line right now, in my opinion. When Delager gets in there, it might be a different story. So,
right. Well, see, Mark Spell says this: Jalen got his ass pulled because he couldn't throw. Running will only go so far. He didn't get pulled. Again, there's a narrative out there about this, and look, we'll leave that part alone at the current moment, but there's a narrative being pushed. Again, so this is why, if everybody's asking, and Pooh, you might agree, just yes or no, this is why I play the what if. So like this, the whole Jalen got pulled mess. Again, if he's 7 for 9 for 112 yards and 2 touchdowns, nobody's batting their eye.
I couldn't agree more.
All right.
I can.
Well, Pooh, two more things for you.
Gotcha.
Funeral chicken.
Yes. Where
can you buy funeral chicken, or is it does somebody have to, go see, God forbid, go see Jesus to get some funeral chicken?
I say the place that's most readily available. If Louisiana's probably going to be Blue Store, or if you can find a Publix. Walmart actually has some pretty Walmart actually has some pretty decent, funeral chicken as well. But I tell you what, if you're looking for some good chicken, funeral chicken may not be your best option. You may want to visit a ballet club like those in Atlanta, the chicken wings at the there's a nice ballet club like Strokers or Blue Flame. They have some pretty good wings. So yeah.
Look, the most underwritten thing of this show today will be that you call it a ballet club. That is the most PC way of putting it.
Listen, have you ever seen those what they call them pliés or yes, listen, don't underestimate talent, people.
All right, let's get out of here. That's the Pooh Bear. Thank you, Pooh, for joining the show. He'll be with us, I'm sure, many more times. Pooh, thank you. Let's get on out of here.
Thank you.